Bitcoin hits the historic $100,000 level as longtime Bitcoiners rejoice, celebrate, and humbly get to say I told you so, while stubborn skeptics, ignorant haters, and permabears try their best to hide their salty tears. Today, we tip our hat to all the legends that helped make this milestone a reality, and look forward to the next milestone of $1 million per Bitcoin, and why that reality is all but guaranteed at this point. That's right, it's over, ladies and gentlemen. Bitcoin has already won. In true Bitcoin fashion, after a monstrous run from 60K to 99K, Bitcoin quietly and casually crossed the historic $100,000 mark late last night. And I just want to personally take this opportunity to congratulate all the long-term Bitcoiners who have been saying this milestone was inevitable way back when it seemed like an impossible fever dream. When you look back at the incredible underdog story of Bitcoin and how it literally started from the bottom, having a market value of $0, it's impossible not to get a little teary-eyed and sentimental. From its origin in the dark recesses of the information network that now spans the earth, where a sole engineer toiled to visualize and write the original Bitcoin code that is still visible and unchanged to this day, to the legendary late Hal Finney, who became the first person besides Satoshi to run the Bitcoin software and mine early blocks in 2009, to the infamous Laszlo, who became the first person to trade Bitcoin for something, in this case, a couple of Papa John's pizzas in the spring of 2010. To Ross Ulbricht, who became the first person to create an online marketplace, the Silk Road, where Bitcoin was the medium of exchange and the unit of account. Side note, free Ross. And let's not forget the incredible early cypherpunks like Adam Back, David Chaum, Nick Szabo, and many others whose giant shoulders Satoshi stood on in order to create this masterpiece of engineering. Today, all Bitcoiners around the world give our heartfelt thank you for making Bitcoin the global economic juggernaut it is today. The hardest part of Bitcoin's growth and maturity is behind us. In many ways, and in hindsight, Bitcoin already won way back when it first reached dollar parity, where one Bitcoin reached the value of $1 on the now defunct Mt. Gox exchange in early 2011. $100,000 is the largest and biggest milestone in Bitcoin short history, but it most definitely isn't the last. Believe it or not, we're still in the early stages of the first chapter of Bitcoin's story. As dictator Vladimir Putin said earlier this week, no one can ban or prohibit the use of Bitcoin. The truth is, it is now a force of nature that can no longer be fought. It can only be reckoned with. If you're new here, this masterpiece from OG Bitcoiner and meme legend Bitstein is an incredible portrait of all the skepticism, hate, and vitriol Bitcoin and Bitcoiners have faced and are still facing as this world-changing technology continues its relentless march on its monetization journey towards global domination. God save the coin indeed. With this milestone, it will be even harder for Bitcoiners not to say I told you so, but I implore you to try to stay humble and sober-minded even as we cross the $2 trillion market cap. Bitcoin is now a short jaunt away from overtaking Google and Amazon on this list of the most valuable assets in the world. But sometimes correction and rebuke is necessary, especially when it's the CIO of $500 billion asset manager Neuberger Berman, who had the unfortunate luck of being scheduled on CNBC this morning. Our boy Joe Kernan doesn't mince words here.
Joining us right now is Joe Amato. He's the president and chief investment officer at Neuberger Berman, which has $509 billion in assets under management, and they're not all in Bitcoin, I don't think.
They are not.
They are not. Maybe they should be?
Given that it's up 47% since the election, I guess we missed it. But it's been certainly an interesting ride. And I do think there are developments there from a regulatory standpoint, potentially a legislative standpoint, that have built some of that enthusiasm, together with a little bit of the sort of animal spirits that have been created since November 11th.
What do you tell clients about Bitcoin?
Well, we tell them to be very careful. Look, I admit it, I've been a skeptic over the years because of some of the things that you just quoted Powell on in terms of its store of value. It's not a currency equivalent, right? It is a speculative asset. And we say be very, very careful. Be very careful. We don't have it in client assets right now. There are ways to play it through the exchanges. But certainly it's getting the attention, and we're getting lots of questions about it.
40% since the election, but 60% ARR for 15 years, or 10 or 15 years. So, I mean, you've missed it.
We have missed that.
Yeah.
We did miss the U.S. equity market, though, so we got that, which has been a strong performer over the last
He's got that
decade.
going for him.
At least he admits he overlooked it. Many haters are doubling down on their distaste for the juggernaut asset. The Financial Times put out this sorry not sorry article to their paid subscribers who apparently complained about the negative coverage of Bitcoin over the years. And the subscribers do deserve a legitimate apology for causing them to miss out on over 200% annualized returns over the last 15 years. And let's not forget Peter Schiff, who famously tweeted in 2019 that Bitcoin would never hit $100,000 and that it was a dream. Well, when Bitcoin did hit 100K last night, he promptly posted this. It's ironic that Bitcoin only hit 100K by buying off politicians and getting in bed with government. Without expected government intervention, this milestone never would have been hit. What couldn't be done in a free market was achieved through the cohesive power of the state. Schiff, a strong proponent of gold, was quickly corrected by Lynn Alden, who responded with the facts. Governments own like 39,000 tons of gold. Governments own a bigger percent of refined gold than they own as a percent of the Bitcoin network, at least as far as anyone can tell. Alden also posted this chart showing the excuse narrative for Bitcoin's price pump during the last few bull markets. In 2017, it was just a speculative bubble. In 2021, it was the stimulus and 0% interest rates. Today, it's now apparently the election and lobbying. I wonder what the excuse will be in 2028 when Bitcoin is knocking on the door of $1 million per coin. And don't fret, Peter. You better believe Bitcoin is coming for the market cap of gold. Even the sitting chairman of the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell, thinks so.
People use Bitcoin as a speculative asset, right? It's like gold. It's just like gold, only it's virtual. It's digital. People are not using it as a form of payment or as a store of value. It's highly volatile. It's not a competitor for the dollar. It's really a competitor for gold. You know, that's really how I think of it.
Yep. That's the man in charge of setting the price of money and capital across the developed world, saying Bitcoin is in direct competition with gold. You see, over time, every single hater, detractor, skeptic, and bear will come around and bend the knee to Bitcoin. It's already won, but it still will take some more winning before many finally capitulate. Now that Bitcoin has crossed this massive milestone, I see many amateur takes that we are topping out, and now is not the time to buy. This is the wrong way to look at it, and here's why. Bitcoin does go through massive boom and bust cycles, but as is clear from any long-term chart of the price, it is always on a stair-step pattern of up and to the right. If you are just buying Bitcoin now for the first time as it crosses 100K, you might be nervous that you're buying the top. Could 100K be the top this cycle? Increasing demand from nation states, institutions, and large corporations tells me it's not, but even I'll admit it is possible. The main takeaway should be that if you are hoping to jump on this roller coaster rocket ship that is Bitcoin, you have to get out of the trader mindset and into the long-term saver mindset. Bitcoin is the only fixed supply asset on the planet Earth. As long as adoption is growing, the price can only go up in terms of an infinitely inflating US dollar. It's really just simple math. Like I said earlier, the real milestone was Bitcoin's 0 to 1 moment, when it hit dollar parity for the first time. Everything after that, from $1 to 100,000, has been inevitable. And now, from 100,000 to 1 million and beyond is equally inevitable. It has been steadily de-risked over the last 15 years, and it only gets stronger and more resilient as it marches forward in its adoption. In that regard, $0 to $1 and $1 to $100,000 is infinitely more difficult than the clear skies ahead on its journey from 100,000 to 1 million and beyond. It took 15 years to reach this $100,000 milestone. World-changing technological leaps like the internet and the digital revolution that came after it increase in adoption at an exponential rate. So it's safe to assume that 100K to 1 million will be orders of magnitude faster than 0 to 100K, which is where the baseline prediction of 1 million by 2030 comes from. And at this rate, I think even that is a conservative prediction. So no, you are not too late to Bitcoin. But I will caution that if you are buying here, for the love of Satoshi, please plan on holding for a minimum of 5 years. The longer your time horizon, the less the roller coaster's volatility will shake you out. Stay humble, stack sats, and enjoy the ride. So when do you think Bitcoin will hit $1 million? Let me know in the comments below, like this video, share it with friends and family, and of course, subscribe to the channel for more high signal Bitcoin content. Thanks for watching, and remember, Bitcoin has already won. The world is just still catching on.